I get asked a lot of questions about canoe camping in the Adirondacks, so I wanted to share my answers to the 5 most asked questions that I get. The questions are about navigation, campfires, bears, when nature calls, and a special mystery question. Let's get started. How do I know where I'm going? Well, I rely heavily on paper maps like these. As a matter of fact, I think anyone that paddles in the Adirondacks would do themselves a great service by having these particular maps. A lot of time and effort has been put into them, so take advantage. I put a link in the video description on where you can find them. From these maps, you can determine distances, canoe access points, canoe carries, as well as the locations of primitive campsites and lean-tos. When you're out there paddling and pond hopping, being able to locate canoe carries is critical. Canoe carries are identified by white signs with the name of the pond the carry leads to. Once on the trail, the canoe carry will be marked by yellow discs that look like this. Primitive campsites are marked by yellow camping discs that look like this. And lean-tos are often marked with wooden signs. Primitive campsites and lean-tos are first come, first serve. Here's an important tip. Always tell a few friends your planned route and itinerary. In case of emergency, this could save your life. And always have the Adirondack Forest Ranger dispatch number in your phone. If you don't, please hit the pause button and add it to your phone right now. Go ahead, I'll wait. Okay, on to the second most asked question. Campfires. Chilling out by a nice fire is one of my favorite aspects of canoe camping. The vast majority of DEC primitive campsites have designated fire pits, so use them. The problem with building a fire outside a designated fire pit is that the forest floor is made up of a thick layer of decaying organic matter, like leaves and twigs. A fire built on this surface can be very hard to fully extinguish, and can smolder and spread underground for days, undetected, before re-emerging. Then boom, forest fire. So please use the designated fire pits. For firewood, on certain occasions, I will pack in some kiln-dried wood. But most of the time, I collect it from the forest floor. In the Adirondacks, you can only use fallen dead. Cutting standing trees, dead or alive, is prohibited. For kindling, birch bark is excellent, but only gather it from the ground or fallen dead. There is usually more than enough. Before leaving your site, be sure to thoroughly extinguish your fire 100%. Okay, on to question 3. Afraid of bears? Who, me? No. Absurd. Absolutely not. Okay, all kidding aside, I wouldn't say I'm afraid of bears, but I certainly have a healthy respect for them. When it comes to human-bear interactions in the Adirondacks, it is almost always about food. Adirondack black bears generally want to avoid humans, but when human food is introduced, that all goes out the window. So how you cook and store food while canoe camping is very important. For storage, it's important to keep all food, toiletries like scented toothpaste or deodorant, and garbage like food wrappers in a bear can or bear hang. Because anything with a scent is very appealing to a bear. I personally prefer a bear can. In the Adirondacks, this is the recommended and most widely used bear can. I'll leave a link in the description. These cans are damn heavy, so that's a bummer, but they hold a decent amount of food. If bear hangs interest you, I'll put a link in the video description. For larger groups and longer trips, canoe barrels are a popular choice. Just keep in mind bears can get into these, so hang it, hide it, or tie it to a tree so it doesn't get dragged away. When not using the bear can, especially at night when sleeping, I hide it about 100 feet away from camp in some bushes or under a log. Because some Adirondack bears have come to recognize the cans as a food source. Speaking of 100 feet, The Department of Environmental Conservation, the DEC, recommends cooking 100 feet away from where you sleep. This is an especially tough rule to follow when you are using a lean-to, since the fire pit is right in front of the lean-to. On this particular trip, we had the luxury of cooking at this lean-to and then sleeping in our hammocks a couple 100 feet away. If you do end up cooking within 100 feet of your sleeping quarters, which I've certainly done, take precautions to make sure the food smoke and smells don't permeate your gear, like your sleeping bag. Keeping your campsite clean and free of food is the best way to avoid a nighttime bear visit. Oh yeah, and the clothes you were wearing while cooking? The food smoke will make them smell delicious too, so don't wear them to sleep. I put a link on avoiding bear interactions in the video description below. Alright, on to question number 4. Okay, question number 4 is about going number 2. Most primitive sites have pit privies, which is either a small outhouse or more likely a thunderbox. You're probably thinking, what the hell is a thunderbox? Well, it is literally a wooden box in the middle of the woods with a hole cut in the top for you to do your business in. And depending on what you ate, make thunder. The experience is not as bad as it sounds. I've had some pretty good moments out there. I 100% prefer a thunderbox over the confined smells of an outhouse. Outhouses and thunderboxes are usually a short walk behind the campsite, away from the water. There is often a small sign or herd path pointing you in the right direction. If there isn't a pit privy available, you need to dig a cathole. Okay, now you're probably wondering what the hell is a cathole. Basically, you just dig a hole 12 inches wide and 6 inches deep, dump, and cover. I put a link detailing this fascinating procedure in the video description below. Anyway, your canoe camping toiletry kit should always include toilet paper, hand sanitizer, and a small trowel. On to question number 5. I put this last, but it is certainly not least. Okay, so this isn't really a question I get asked, but it is always something I bring up when giving backcountry advice. Leave no trace, otherwise known as LNT. I'm only going to touch on the main principles here, but I put a link in the description where you can find in-depth information about LNT. In a nutshell, more about nutshells in a moment, the basic concept of LNT is to leave as little impact on the environment as possible. You do this by packing out everything you pack in. While it's common sense that water bottles, beer cans, and food wrappers should not be discarded in the backcountry, it is important to know that any and all food scraps such as banana peels, orange peels, apple cores, pistachio shells, or any meal leftovers like half-eaten hot dogs or pasta should not be discarded in the backcountry, biodegradable or not. Food scraps take a long time to biodegrade. Pistachio shells can take more than 3 years to biodegrade. Banana and orange peels around 2 years. And bears love food scraps, so we don't want them identifying these areas as food sources. The best practice is to leave the campsite looking better than you found it. That means never leaving garbage of any sort in the fire pit, including paper products. A small garbage bag or two should always be a part of your canoe camping kit. Well, that's a wrap. I hope what I covered helped you have a better canoe camping experience. Thank you for watching, and have a safe and enjoyable paddling season. I hope to see you out there. He's ready to go.